After his mother's death, a quiet transfer student in Tokyo uncovers a secret tied to his estranged father, a legacy buried in steel, speed, and unfinished promises. Drawn into the city's underground racing world, he finds that every victory pulls him deeper into a past he was warned never to chase. And what begins as escape becomes a collision between grief, identity, and the cost of choosing who you become. Rain clung to the glass like memory, tracing ghostly rivers down Kai Nakamura's window. Tokyo's skyline flickered beyond, a constellation of light and noise that still felt foreign. 17 years old and freshly uprooted from Kyoto, Kai carried silence like a second skin. His classmates saw only a quiet transfer student, and none of them saw the fracture underneath, the hollow where his mother's voice used to live. When she died, the world stopped making sense. His mother had been warmth, boundaries, and belief all at once. On her last night, fingers frail as paper, she whispered a promise into his ear. Never race, Kai. Don't let the road take you like it took him. He's sworn it, choking on the lie. Weeks after the funeral, a plain envelope arrived, his name written in her delicate script. Inside rested a small brass key and a note, for when you're ready to understand them. The address led him to a storage lot on the city's edge, a place where rust met rain. Kai unlocked the unit and the metal door rolled open with a soft groan. Dust swirled in the flashlight's beam, revealing a sleeping beast, a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, its silver body veiled in grime, yet unmistakably alive. His father's legend, the car that had burned his family apart. He touched the hood. The metal was cold, but something beneath it thrummed. Restrained power, restless memory. In the glove box lay an old photograph, his father grinning beside the skyline, hand resting on a much younger Kai's shoulder. His mother had torn the picture in half years ago. He stared at it until the edges blurred. That night, the city pulled at him. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and reflective, like mirrors daring him to look back. The skyline roared awake on the first try, exhaust shuddering with a sound that was both mechanical and alive. Kai gripped the wheel, heart sinking with the engine's growl. When he took the first corner, time fractured, the neon streaked, and for the first time since the funeral, he felt something like breathing again. The pain, the guilt, the endless quiet, all drowned beneath the pulse of speed. He raced for nights afterward, from the bridges through tunnels, past graffiti-stained walls where crowds had gathered to watch the blur of color and steel. His name spread in whispers, the ghost from Kyoto. He won every race, but the victories tasted hollow. Every drift brought him closer to the man he hated, and the promise he'd broken. And though Kai didn't know it yet, every flash of his taillights was drawing eyes, not just of rival races, but of people who remembered his father's name for reasons darker than glory. Word spread faster than Kai ever had heart to admit. At first it was whispers at convenience stores and frantic messages forwarded in closed chat rooms. Ghosts from Kyoto, perfect drift, no fear. Then came the late night crowds, the flash of cameras, the bets pushed across hoods like offerings. Speed soothed him. The Skyline's engine sang the only lullaby he trusted. That's how he met Mercer. The race had been reckless even by underground standards. 3 laps to a reclaimed expressway. Corners sharp as knives, spectators planted along the concrete ribs. Mercer's Supra glowed a predatory red under the sodium lamps, its tail lights like warning embers. He'd been the favorite until Kai arrived, a silver blur cutting inside, brakes kissing the asphalt, tires screaming to a perfect slide. Kai crossed the line first, the crowd erupted, and Mercer watched him from his cockpit with the kind of attention that feels like measurement. When the crowd thinned, Mercer stepped out. Up close, he was all calm angles and a mouth that never smiled. He ran a hand across the Supra's hood as if testing the paint's temperature. "You drive like you got something to prove," he said, voice flat. "Be careful, you just painted a target on yourself." The words hung there, low and cold. Locals murmured warnings, "Walk away, kid," but warmth from their voices felt like ash to Kai. The car had given back the thing grief took: movement, decision, a pulse that wasn't all morning. He told himself he couldn't stop. Not now. On the drive home 3 nights later, a black sedan rode his rear view like a shadow. He shrugged it off as territorial showmanship, an occupational hazard. He was young, stubborn, and certain the Skyline's hum could shield him from fear. They came at midnight. Glass shattered, men in dark jackets burst through his apartment door like weather, efficient and brutal. Kai remembers little more than a body slammed against a wall, a flashlight strobing across a face he never fully seen, hands ripping, straps snatching. His father's skyline hoisted out into the rain like an offering to an empty road. They left this place a ruin, drawers upended, photographs ripped in half, pages of his mother's letters scattered like pale leaves. Then came the last strike, a blow to the temple so clean it took his balance and the breath from his lungs. He woke in sterile light. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and sleep. A curtain fluttered with the building's slow breath. Detective uniforms crowded the doorway, but the questions they asked were polite, rehearsed. Kai said what the world wanted to hear. Random burglaries happened. He'd been in the wrong place, wrong time. He didn't say Mercer's name, he didn't say the Crimson. He lied because naming them felt like inviting them back into his life. Footsteps at the threshold made him look up. The man who entered did not wear a badge that anyone in Tokyo would recognize. He moved like a predator in a suit, efficient, unobtrusive. He introduced himself as Ryo Takeda and used words that did not bother with small talk. "You're reckless," Ryo said, voice even, challenging Mercer, like it's attention you don't want. His eyes, though, held facts that cut through Kai's fog. They didn't take just your car, he added slowly. They took him. Kai's chest hollowed out. The word arrived unadorned. Killed. He tasted it, like iron. Something in Kai that had been soft and folded. Hope, safety, the idea of a quiet life, shredded in an instant. Grief, dull and familiar, sharpened into a blade. The empty spaces left by his parents' death, filled with a different sound. Intent. He swallowed, his jaw set until the muscles ached. "Then I'll get it back," he said, voice small and steady. First command he had given himself since the funeral. Every last thing. Outside the window, rain traced the city in streaks of light. Inside, Kai's eyes went hard. No longer a boy running from the promise, but a man beginning to chase retribution. The warehouse sat on the edge of Tokyo's industrial district, silent except for the echo of dripping rain. Kai followed Ryu down a stairwell that smelled of oil and metal until the walls widened to a hidden garage carved beneath the city's bones. Dozens of cars rested beneath work lights, half disassembled skeletons gleaming on the chrome and dust. "This is where ghosts come to drive again," Ryu said. His voice carried the weight of a man who'd seen too much. "The Bureau funds it off the record. Our goal is simple. Infiltrate the Crimson from the inside." A small team watched Kai from across the room, a grizzled mechanic with a prosthetic arm, a young analyst surrounded by laptop screens, and two drivers tuning engines with military precision. Each of them had lost something: family, freedom, or faith, to the same syndicate that had stolen Kai's father and the skyline. Kai's pulse stuttered like an engine, idling too long. "I'll help," he said finally, "but I want one thing," his voice steady. "My father's car. I get it back." Ryo gave a faint nod. "Then you'll need a new ride to earn their trust." A steel shutter rose, revealing a Toyota Supra MK4, rebuilt from scrap into something alive. The body was sleek, low, and hungry. Kai walked around it, fingertips grazing the hood. "She's fast," said the mechanic, "and she'll bite if you don't respect her." Over the following weeks, the Supra became Kai's second skin. He trained under Ryu's command, learning to race not just with reflex, but with strategy. He studied rival routes, police frequencies, and traffic patterns, memorizing how the Crimson moved its shipments through the city's veins. With each victory in underground circuits, whispers of ghost return spread like wildfire. At night, he would park outside the ruins of his old home, where the skyline once rested. The silence pressed against him, his mother's voice urging him to stop, his father's ghost daring him to continue. In that tension, he found purpose. When Kai finally posted his challenge online, his Supra against Mercer's skyline, the underground exploded. The Crimson accepted. The race was set. But for Kai, it was no longer about vengeance. It was about proving that the name Nakamura meant more than loss. That legacy could still be rebuilt from wreckage. The night arrived like a promise wrapped in thunder. Tokyo streets were cordoned off by the pulse of humanity. Spectators perched on overpasses, headlights flashing against steel and rain. The air smelled of exhaust and electricity. In the center of it all, two machines idled like predators, waiting for release. Kai sat behind the wheel on a Supra, the cockpit trembling with every heartbeat of the engine. His hands, steady now, traced the worn edges of his gloves. Across the line, Mercer leaned out of the skyline, Kai's father's skyline, its paint restored, its engine snarling, as if mocking him. "Loser walks," Mercer called out, voice calm as a blade. Winner takes both. Kai nodded once. Words didn't belong here. Only emotion. The signal light flickered from red to yellow to green. The world detonated. Engine screamed, tires ripped asphalt apart. The Supra and Skyline tore through the industrial district like twin comets, neon light bending in their wake. Every corner became a gamble, every drift brushed the edge of disaster. Police drones blinked overhead, tracking their heat signatures, but even law couldn't keep up with velocity that defied reason. Mercer drove like a man who owned chaos. He clipped Kai's bumper, spun sparks from a guardrail, and laughed through the comm channel. "So think you're your father's son?" Kai didn't answer, he just drove. Every shift, every break, every perfect drift echoing lessons he'd never been taught, but somehow knew. His father's ghost rode shotgun, his mother's voice whispered behind him. In the final stretch, the elevated highway opened before them, the skyline bleeding color into night. Kai's Supra surged forward, the twin turbo screaming as he pulled ahead by inches. The crowd below roared, "Comeback, the redemption." But in that heartbeat he saw her, his mother's face in the reflection of his windshield, lips moving with the same dying plea. "Promise me." He eased off the gas. Mercer shot past, victory flames bursting from his exhaust. The crowd booed, jeering the ghost who had fallen. But Kai only watched the skyline vanish into the distance, his expression unreadable. He stepped from the Supra, keys in hand, and offered them to Mercer with a calm precision. "A deal's a deal." Mercer smirked as Kai tossed the keys and sped away into the neon maze. Kai's earpiece crackled, while his voice cut through the static. "We've got him." Kai looked up at the fading taillights of his father's car and exhaled. The race was over, but the hunt had just begun. The night cracked open with sirens. Tokyo's industrial district burned with flashing red and blue as agents poured into the crimson stronghold. Floodlights sliced through the smoke, gunfire echoed between the steel walls. FBI and local task forces swarmed the warehouse, shouting commands in Japanese and English. Kai arrived with Ryu, their car sliding to a stop in a cloud of grit. Inside, chaos reigned. Syndicate members scrambling, engines revving, crates of cash and contraband spilling across the floor. The Supra roared alive, Mercer at the wheel, trying to break free through the chaos. Ryu drew his weapon, stepping into the open with unflinching calm. "End of the line, Mercer." Mercer slammed the accelerator, aiming straight for him, but Kai swerved the skyline, his skyline. Between them, steel meeting steel in a thunderous collision that shook the floor. The Supra's hood crumbled, sparks flew. For a frozen heartbeat, Kai saw Mercer's eyes, not hate, just disbelief. 4 agents surrounded the car, guns raised. The man who had stolen his past was dragged away in cuffs, shouting promises that no one listened to. When the last engine fell silent and the smell of burning rubber faded, Kai stood among the wreckage, chest heaving, the adrenaline drained from his veins, leaving only the hollow quiet of aftermath. Ryu approached to the haze, dust settling on his coat, and tossed a small keyring toward him. "Looks like this belongs to you," he said. Kai caught it. The metal was cool, familiar, the key to the skyline. He turned to where the car waited, battered but unbroken, gleaming faintly under the harsh fluorescent light. His father's ghost seemed to linger in the reflection of its windshield. He placed a hand on the hood, voice barely above a whisper. "The promise is kept, Mom. I'm done running." As dawn broke, Kai drove along the empty coastal highway, the sea stretching out in silver calm. The skyline's engine purred, steady and alive. Ryu's words echoed in his mind. "If you ever need a job after graduation, call me." Kai smiled faintly. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, it was his.